Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new fall term. My name is Dr. Stansel, and I will be your instructor for this Biology 1 course. So what I want to do in this orientation video is just talk about some of the course policies, go through the syllabus briefly, and then show you around the Canvas course so that you're familiar with what is going to be expected of you this term. So what we have in front of us is the course syllabus. My name is right there at the top, and you've got my email address there. Please feel free to email me anytime. You can do this directly or you can send your emails through Canvas. Either way would be fine. And I will aim to get back with you within 24 hours, if not sooner. So definitely feel free to use that resource. Okay, so this course itself is going to cover the biological principles of the structure and function of really the fundamental components that make up living organisms, and that's the cells. So as we go through learning about the cells, we'll talk about some basic chemistry, we'll go over some concepts of metabolism, and we'll also talk about some genetics and molecular biology. This is primarily a course for biology majors, so that means that this is going to be a course for students that are intending to major in some type of biological science, and there is going to be a lab component in this course. Now, all of our course activities are going to be conducted online. They will be through Canvas, and then we'll have one separate website that we use for some of our lab activities. All right, so if we look at the syllabus a little closer, and I just scroll down to the required materials for this course, notice that there's two things that you need to have for this course. The first one is going to be your textbook. And this is Biology by OpenStax College. The great thing about this textbook, what I really love about it, besides the fact that it's really got good content, is that this is an open source textbook. So that means that it is free. You can read it online, and I've got links directly to the content that we'll be reading inside Canvas. If you don't like to read on a screen, then you're welcome to purchase a copy. And it is relatively inexpensive, and there's a lot of different places where you can purchase that copy. And if you do intend to purchase a copy, then you can read online until your textbook actually arrives. Okay, the other thing that we're going to need is we need access to our lab website. And this is going to be SimBio. This is going to cost about $48, so not too much, and it is absolutely required for the course. So you will not be able to complete the lab activities unless you follow that link there, which is also in Canvas, and you log in, sign up, create an account for yourself. So please make sure to do that, plan to do that pretty quickly in the course so that you don't miss any lab assignments. Okay, so those are kind of the main points of the syllabus and what the course is going to be about. Just want to scroll down here and talk about the grades for a second. So in this course, you're going to have a variety of different assignments. Some of the assignments are lectures. So this is where you're actually going to watch the lectures inside Canvas, and you will get credit for that. It is really important that you go through the lectures and you take notes on them and pretend as though you were actually sitting in an actual classroom. So if you do that, and you go through the ones that are posted for you, you will get full credit. So that is an easy way to earn some points in this class. There's also going to be some homework assignments, and there'll be one of those that goes along with each of the chapters that we go through. There will be lab work, so that's lab assignments, and that SimBio access is going to be mandatory for that. And then we'll also have a number of exams that are going to cover the course content. Okay, so you can see here the breakdown of your grades, so where the different points are going to come from or how much percent of the class is devoted to the different categories. And just know that your semester grade will be based on those specific assignments. In general, there is not extra credit in the class. I do have a few small extra credit assignments embedded in the syllabus or in the schedule, and I'll show you those. But there will not be extra assignments beyond that. There's also not makeup exams, makeup homework, makeup assignments. So we do want to really make sure that we're paying attention to the deadlines that are posted throughout the course, and we're meeting those. Right? Now, if we go to our Canvas course, this is our course in Canvas. Now, yours might look a little bit different from mine because this is going to be the instructor view of the course. But you can see right there when you log into Canvas, you're going to get an overview of the course and what we're going to cover. Now, if you scroll a little bit lower on the page, you will see kind of the main links that you're going to need. So you've got a link to the syllabus, which is what I just covered. We have a link to a place where you can ask questions inside Canvas. I greatly encourage you to post questions there. Anything about course policies, course content. This is a great way to post those questions that other students probably have as well. This would be like you raising your hand and asking a question during a typical lecture class. If you use that, I can answer the questions for everybody, and that way I don't have multiple students sending me the exact same question. The only type of things that you don't want to post on there are personal questions if they relate to your grade in the course, or if you have an emergency situation, something like that that you want to communicate to me. Certainly that stuff should be done privately through an email directly to me. Okay, there's also a link to some tutoring that the college has available. Tech support if you're having problems with Canvas, your email, things like that. You can use that link. And then there's also a link to the course textbook. So I'm going to pull up that link to the course textbook right now just so we can get an overview of it or another look at where we would access that. This is the book that was listed in the syllabus. There is a link right there where you can go directly to the full textbook online. There's also a link where you can download the PDF version of the textbook. So if you're someone that doesn't have internet access at home, or you find that you're going to be without access, at times when you might want to be reading the textbook, you can download the PDF file and then always have it there. Again, we do need to be reading the textbook, but you don't have to actually go out and purchase a copy of the textbook. There's certainly free resources that you can use to access that. Now, the next place that I want to go is just click this module link over here in the left-hand navigation. And this is going to pretty much be where you're going to be working on all of your assignments. So the first module that I have here is really an introduction to the course. This is going to include the syllabus, which I showed you. We have a schedule, which I'm going to pull up in a second. And then you also have a link to this orientation video that you're watching right now. Other information about the textbook, how you're going to sign up for lab, and so on. If we just look at the schedule for the course, I'm going to pull that up first. This is a PDF file, and I do suggest that you actually print this and you have it posted somewhere that you can see it regularly. If we look down this syllabus, which let me just download it so that I can pull it up a little bit bigger here for you. Okay, so here's the syllabus, the schedule for the course, and you can see that it's divided into modules. We're actually going to have 5 total modules for the course, and most of them are going to cover 3 chapters. The last one covers 4 chapters, but you can see the different chapters that we're covering in each module, and then there's going to be a homework assignment for that chapter, and there's also going to be a lecture assignment for that chapter, and you've got a due date there. There is also going to be some labs scattered throughout there, and there is one, what I call a study sheet assignment for each module. That study sheet assignment is an optional assignment, but it is your only chance for any extra points in this class. I also think that putting that together will help you to do better on the exam, so I definitely encourage it. And then each module is going to end up or finish up with an exam on those chapters. Now, all of the assignments in the module, with the exception of the exam, those will be open at the very beginning of that module. So when you start this class, you can get to all of the assignments in module 1, except for the exam. You can go through those at your own pace, and I do put the due dates there because that's how you're going to best keep up with the content of this course. There's a lot of material in this course, so if we wait till the end, we definitely can't pack it all into our minds. So chapter 2, you've got readings, you've got lectures that are graded, and you've got homeworks that are graded, and you see the deadline there. Same thing for number 3, same thing for number 4, and so on. Then at the very end, the exam will be open for 2 days only. So 48 hours, you can take that exam. You must log in during that 48 hours and take that exam. That exam is going to be timed. It will be a single attempt. So you'll want to make sure that you allow yourself plenty of time to get it done. And definitely, I suggest that you don't wait till the last minute. Now notice that for Module 1, there is a final deadline, and that's September 5th in this case. What that means is that I am a little bit flexible on the due dates that you see posted there for the assignments in that module, meaning that I suggest you get them done by the posted due date, definitely recommended. But if for some reason you do not get them done, I will accept them until September 5th. Okay, so I will accept them for full credit until the final deadline of that module. The only exception to that is going to be your introduction discussion and then also the study sheet assignment. The study sheet assignment, because it is extra credit, is definitely due by that posted date. It's also meant to help you prep for the exam, so I definitely want it done before the exam. So again, the homework. So homework for chapter 2, it can be submitted a little late if there is some emergency or something that comes up. Okay, same thing for all of the modules. Each assignment has a deadline. Then you have a final deadline, so a last deadline, absolute deadline when you can submit things for that particular section or module of the course. Okay, so you can see the schedule there. Again, I recommend that you print the schedule. I think that that will be helpful to have that posted somewhere. Okay, so if we go back to the course itself, go back to the modules, I want you just to see what they look like. The getting started one, again, that's the one where you're going to find all of your just course related information and how to get set up and started. The lab information is here. This gives you the link that you'll need to actually get your lab access, and you can use that course specific link. There's also an access key if it asks you to put in an access key. But again, this is something that you're going to need to purchase, so please be prepared for that. But it is the only required expense for this particular course. If we go back to the modules again, there's just a little information about myself, how to be successful in this course, and then it is going to finish up with a syllabus quiz. You do need to pass that syllabus quiz to get to the other content in the course. You can take it as many times as you need to, but really it shouldn't be a hard quiz because this is going to cover what's in the syllabus and then also what's covered in this video. So if you go through those two things, you should be aware of whatever you're going to find in the syllabus quiz. And I just want to make sure that we're all starting out knowing what's going to be expected of us in this course and how we're going to be graded this term. Now, once you get through that and you get down to the first module, this first module, we're going to start out with a page that's just about the chapter that we're covering. So chapter 2, you've got some learning objectives there, and then you have a little drop-down menu that has your readings. You can click that link and it'll take you right to the textbook online so that you can do your readings for that chapter. If you need to navigate more around the book, you can see that the chapters are located here in the left-hand navigation. We can also close that just to make it a little bit bigger for us. Okay, so that's the textbook readings. The lectures are posted here. This is a link for the really reviewing of the lecture. That is not your graded lecture, so that's why that's posted there as not graded. There are some extra short little videos if you need a little extra help on some of the most difficult topics in the class. These are relatively short, so a good way if you're struggling with the covalent bonds and what they are, you can click on that link to look at that little video. And then if you do want to do some practice things, that's available here. One that I do really want to recommend is the practice quiz. This is a Canvas quiz. It's going to give you some multiple choice questions that would be similar to what you would see on the exam for this chapter. So you can go through that multiple times. There's a pool of questions there, so you're often going to get different questions if you go through it multiple times. And you can kind of go through all that content there if you want. So if we scroll next, for the lectures in the course, they're going to need to be loaded in a new window. So I'm going to do that right here. And notice that it might take a few seconds for the lecture to actually load. Okay, but once the lecture actually loads, you're going to see a little play button here, and then you can hit play. I'm just going to mute it so we don't hear anything. You're going to type in your name here, and then you're going to hit continue. And then when this starts, you're going to get your lecture for the class. This is going to be a video, or it's going to go through kind of a narrated PowerPoint for you. All closed caption down there at the bottom if you need that. Okay, and then every so often, it's going to ask you a question, a multiple choice question, true false question, something like that. And you'll need to answer that. Okay, and it won't move forward until you've actually answered that question. Now, if you click up here on the little arrows, you can see the table of contents for chapter 2. There's also a link down here, this TOC, that will get that table of contents to pop up. So notice that for chapter 2, for example, we've got 4 lectures. You need to go through each one of these. Now, when you finish lecture 1, you're going to get a little green check mark here beside it. And then you can go to lecture 2 and then get a little check mark. When you get through all of them, then you're going to get your points for this particular lecture assignment. You don't have to do them all at one time, but you do need to go through all of them. you should go through all of lecture 1 at one time, all of lecture 2 at one time. But if you don't want to do all 4 at once, that's fine. Now, on the very last screen, it's going to show your name at the top, what you typed in there. It's going to show your score of 100%. And then it's also going to say it's recommended that you take a picture or a screenshot of this grading screen. Okay, that is for your own records, and it's definitely something that you need to do. Occasionally, the grade doesn't auto-populate in the Canvas gradebook, and in that case, it's not a problem because you can just email me that grading screen and I will update the grade for you manually. So that's why I want you to make sure that you always have just a little snapshot of that, so it's very easy to see that, okay, yes, you did that. Let me go and put your 100% there in the gradebook. Okay, so that's the way the lectures work. If we go back here, and go down back to module 2, okay, you can see if I go back to that chapter 2 page, back to the lectures, notice we had that extra link right here. This link is for just reviewing purposes. So if you've already gone through the graded chapter 2 lectures and you got your points for that, but you need to go back to something and look at it again, use that link right there. That way it doesn't kind of reset your grade in the gradebook for the chapter 2 lectures. But again, if it does, you can go back to the lectures and just kind of go back to that last screen and it'll probably auto-populate your grade again. If not, again, send me a screenshot. I'll update it for you, no problem. Okay, this is where you're going to see the homework assignment. Okay, the homework is meant to be something that you spend a bit of time on. So this definitely, you can open it up, you can read through the questions, maybe answer the ones that are easy to you. Then go back to the textbook, go back to the lectures, and just try to really think about those questions before you submit it. So they're challenging questions. You will get 2 attempts on this, and your highest grade is the one that's going to count. But again, this is not meant to be completed at one time. So as long as you don't hit submit, you can definitely come back and work on it again the next day. I suggest that you take a few days to get the homework done, really thinking about each one of those questions. At the very end of each module, you are going to see that we've got that study sheet page. Okay, so just to give you an idea of this, a study sheet is basically a sheet of paper that goes through really condensed notes for that particular section of the course or what that exam is going to be on. There is a page here that talks about making them a little bit more. And you can see a few examples here. Basically, this is the same thing as if your instructor said, hey, you're coming to class and you can bring 1 page of notes. So 1 cheat sheet with you. Okay, so going through and preparing that helps you to go through the content, really focus on what you think might be important things that you need to know, you need to remember, and you put all that together. And I think what you'll find is that you actually learn a lot of this, you commit it to memory when you actually put this together. But as a little extra incentive, if you do this and you get it posted by the deadline, then you do get some extra credit points added to your exam. Okay, so I really would like everybody to do these. It's a good experience. These should be 1 page in length. They don't have to be as fancy as these or as colorful as these. Some students like to be very creative on them, but you can just cram a lot of content on there if you'd like. They should be 1 page, so just front of 1 page, and they have to be handwritten. So not typed up, no copy and pasted images from online. They need to be handwritten. Okay, so those are the study sheet assignments. And then the last thing in each module is going to be the exam. And again, that exam will be open for 2 days only. And with the exam, it's 1 attempt. It is timed. And really make sure you're prepared to sit there for, in this case, it's 75 minutes in length. Make sure you're prepared to sit there for 75 minutes to actually get that exam completed, okay? Because you can't pause it and then come back later. Okay, so that is the general setup of the course. If I just go here to the home page, I want to point out again that you've got this link to the discussion board for questions. If you have any questions at all, I'd love for you to post them here. I will monitor this discussion board. I will respond to these questions. You can see that I've already subscribed here so that I'll see when students post things here. And also, if a classmate posts something here and you know the answer to it, then definitely feel free to jump in there and post your response and help each other out as well. Again, my name is Dr. Stansel. I will be your instructor for all of this class. It's all going to be right here in Canvas except for those lab activities, and you'll do those in the SimBio. And again, I will respond to your questions and concerns as quickly as I can. I am available to you. I am a resource to you, and I want you to feel free to reach out to me. I will communicate everything to you through Canvas, so make sure you've set up notifications properly on your phone or whatever device you normally use so that you can get the emails, the announcements, anything like that that I might post. Okay, I will keep your grades current in Canvas all the time so that you know exactly how you're doing in the course. Again, I'm here to help you. I'm looking forward to a great term.